Yesterday, I discovered that my son's cafe opened without me, because, as my daughter-in-law said, it was only for close friends and family. As the story unfolds, take a moment to like, hit the hype button, subscribe, and write in the comments. Would you forgive them or walk away? Though today, she screamed at me over the phone because the mortgage was overdue and demanded to know why I hadn't paid the bills. I wiped dust from my hands, looked at the stack of invoices she created behind my back, and answered calmly, "Oh, I paid exactly what I owed, and now it's your turn." She didn't know it yet, but that was the last day she would control anything in this family. The morning after Paige's grand opening, I drove to the cafe. Not because I was invited, not because Tyler called me. I went because I needed to see it with my own eyes. The storefront looked beautiful. Clean white brick, sage green awnings, hand-painted signage that read Bloom Brew in elegant script, my money, my investment, my son's dream, and I hadn't been allowed through the door when it mattered. I parked across the street and sat there for a while, engine ticking as it cooled. Through the wide front windows, I could see Tyler wiping down tables. He moved slowly, shoulders hunched. Even from a distance, he looked exhausted. I got out and crossed the street. The bell above the door chimed when I entered. Tyler looked up, and for just a second I saw something in his face. Guilt, maybe, or shame. Then it vanished, replaced by a careful neutrality. "Hey, Dad," he said. His voice was flat. "Hey." I looked around. The space was everything we'd talked about during those late-night planning sessions 2 years ago. Exposed brick, Edison bulbs, vintage furniture mixed with modern touches. The espresso machine I'd bought him gleamed on the back counter, all chrome and brass and promise. "Place looks good," I said. "Thanks." He didn't meet my eyes, just kept wiping the same table in slow circles. "How'd it go last night?" "Good. Really good. Paige was happy." I nodded. Waited. He didn't offer anything else. "I saw the pictures," I said finally. "On Instagram." Tyler's hand stopped moving. "Yeah?" "Yeah. Looked like a great turnout. Paige's whole family came, her friends, even her cousin from Sacramento. It was nice having everyone there." "Everyone," I repeated. He set down the cloth and finally looked at me. "Dad, don't." "Don't what?" "Don't make this into something it's not." "I'm not making it into anything. I'm just wondering why I wasn't invited to my own son's cafe opening. The cafe I funded. The cafe I helped you build from the ground up." Paige thought... He stopped himself, rubbed his face. "It was supposed to be intimate, just close people." "Close people?" "Yeah." "So I'm not close?" "That's not what I mean." "Then what do you mean, Tyler?" The back door swung open before he could answer. Paige walked in carrying a box of pastries, her phone wedged between her shoulder and ear. She was laughing at something the person on the other end said. When she saw me, the laughter cut off. "I'll call you back," she said into the phone. She set the box down on the counter and turned to face me with a smile that didn't reach her eyes. "Dean, what a surprise." "Paige, what brings you by?" "Just wanted to see the place. Congratulations on the opening." "Thank you. It went perfectly. Better than we could have hoped." "So I heard." She glanced at Tyler, then back to me. "Well, I'm glad you could stop by. We're actually pretty busy getting ready for the lunch rush, so..." "I understand. I won't keep you." I looked at Tyler. "Maybe we could grab dinner sometime this week, just the two of us. Haven't done that in a while." Tyler opened his mouth, but Paige spoke first. "That's so sweet. But Tyler's schedule is packed this week. Grand opening week is insane. Maybe next month?" I was asking Tyler. "I know." Her smile hardened. "But I manage his calendar." I stared at her. This 26-year-old woman who'd married my son 2 years ago, who called herself a branding consultant despite having no actual clients, who wore designer clothes bought with money from my business accounts, she was telling me I needed her permission to have dinner with my own son. "Tyler," I said, not looking away from her. "Maybe next month is better," he said quietly. "Like Paige said, it's crazy right now." Something cold settled in my chest. Not anger, not yet, just a recognition of something I'd been trying to ignore for months. "Sure," I said. "Next month." I walked out without another word, got in my truck and drove back to the office. Mara was at her desk when I came in, glasses perched on her nose as she reviewed invoices. "How'd it go?" she asked. "About how you'd expect." She took off her glasses and looked at me, really looked at me. "What happened?" "Nothing. Everything. I don't know." I sat down heavily in the chair across from her desk. She wouldn't even let me talk to him alone. "She was there?" "She's always there. and when she's not physically there, she's in his head. I leaned forward, elbows on my knees. You should have seen him, Mara. He looked miserable, exhausted, and he couldn't even be honest with me. What are you going to do? I don't know yet. But that was a lie. I was already starting to know. I just didn't want to admit it yet. That afternoon, I went through the financial records for Tyler's Café. Mara had flagged some inconsistencies the week before, and I'd put off looking at them. Now I opened the file and started comparing invoices to bank statements. The espresso machine caught my attention first. I'd ordered it directly from the distributor 6 months ago. Top of the line, $12,000. It had been delivered to my office, and I'd personally driven it to Tyler's apartment for storage until the cafe space was ready. But according to the invoice in front of me, the machine had been purchased by Paige. Same model, same serial number, same delivery date. But the name on the purchase order was hers. I picked up my phone and called the distributor. This is Dean Ravel. I need to confirm a purchase from 6 months ago. The woman on the other end pulled up the order. Yes, sir. Espresso machine, model XT2000, delivered to your business address. And who's listed as the purchaser? You are, sir. Dean Ravel. Payment from your business account. Thank you. I hung up and stared at the invoice in front of me. Paige had somehow created a duplicate document that made it look like she'd bought the machine, which meant the Instagram post from last night, the one where she thanked everyone who believed in our vision and specifically mentioned the incredible espresso machine I picked out, was a lie, a calculated, deliberate lie. I opened Instagram on my phone and scrolled through her feed. The cafe opening was everywhere, 43 posts in the last 24 hours, every angle, every detail, every person who attended, except me. I'd been erased, photoshopped out of my own son's business. My phone rang. Tyler's name lit up the screen. I answered. Hey, Dad. His voice was tight. I'm sorry about earlier. I should have handled that better. It's okay. No, it's not. He sighed. Things are complicated right now. I know. I want to have dinner, really, maybe Thursday. Thursday works. Okay, good. I'll text you. He paused. I love you, Dad. Love you too, son. He hung up. I sat there holding the phone, staring at Paige's Instagram profile. All those posts, all those lies, all that control. Thursday never happened. Tuesday morning, my phone rang at 6 a.m. Paige's voice exploded through the speaker before I even got the phone to my ear. The mortgage is overdue. Did you pay the bills? I pulled the phone away from my face, squinting at the screen. 6:04 a.m. I put it on speaker and set it on the nightstand. Good morning to you too, Paige. Don't you dare. The bank called yesterday. The cafe mortgage payment is 3 weeks overdue. 3 weeks. Do you have any idea what this does to our credit? What it does to the business? Mara stirred beside me, then sat up. What's going on? I held up a hand. Paige, slow down. What mortgage are you talking about? The cafe mortgage. The one you're supposed to be paying. I'm not responsible for the cafe mortgage. Yes, you are. We set up automatic payments from your business account. No, you didn't. I never authorized that. Tyler said you agreed to cover it for the first year. I got out of bed and walked into the hallway, closing the bedroom door behind me. Tyler and I never discussed that. Not once. Where are you getting this information? From the paperwork we all signed. Paige, I need you to listen very carefully. I funded the cafe build-out. Equipment, furniture, initial inventory. That was my investment. The ongoing mortgage is Tyler's responsibility. That was always the agreement. That's not what the bank says. Then send me the documentation. I don't have time for this. You need to call them right now and fix this. It's 6 a.m. The bank's not open, and even if it was, I'm not fixing something I didn't break. If there's a problem with the mortgage, Tyler needs to handle it. Tyler doesn't have time to handle it. He's running a business that he owns, which means he handles the bills. There was a long pause. When she spoke again, her voice was different, colder. You're really going to do this? You're going to let your son's dream collapse because you're too cheap to help? I'm not being cheap. I'm being clear about boundaries. Boundaries? She laughed, sharp and bitter. You know what? I always knew you resented me, from day one. You couldn't stand that Tyler chose someone who actually supports his ambitions instead of trying to control him like you do. That's not... Save it. I'll figure this out myself, like I always do. She hung up. I stood in the hallway for a long moment, phone in hand. Then I went downstairs and made coffee. Mara came down 20 minutes later, already dressed. What was that about? Paige says the cafe mortgage is overdue. Says I was supposed to be paying it. Were you? No, and I never agreed to. I pulled up my email on my laptop. But apparently there's paperwork that says otherwise. From who? That's what I'm going to find out. I spent the morning digging through every document related to Tyler's Café, the lease agreement, the business loan application, the equipment financing contracts. Everything was in Tyler's name or under the cafe's LLC. Nothing tied me to ongoing operational expenses. Then I checked my business bank account. 3 automatic withdrawals, $2,000 each, all within the last 2 months. All labeled Café Operating Fund. I hadn't authorized them. I called the bank. Spent 40 minutes on hold. Finally got through to a representative who pulled up my account. Yes, sir. I show 3 recurring transfers to a linked account. They were set up on August 15th using your online banking portal. I didn't set those up. The login credentials match your account, sir. Can you tell me what device they were initiated from? She paused. I'd need to transfer you to our security department for that information. Do it. Another 20 minutes on hold. Then a new voice, male this time, professional and cautious. Mr. Ravel, I show the transfers were initiated from an IP address in Riverside. Does that match your location? No, I'm in San Bernardino County. I see. And you're saying you didn't authorize these transfers? That's exactly what I'm saying. Do you know anyone who might have access to your login credentials? I did, but I didn't want to say it out loud yet. I need those transfers reversed and that account disconnected from mine. I can help with that. I'll need to file a fraud claim. Can you come into a branch with valid ID? I'll be there this afternoon. I hung up and sat back in my chair. Mara appeared in the doorway with 2 sandwiches. You need to eat, she said. Someone's been using my bank account to pay cafe expenses. She set the plates down. Tyler? I don't know, but the timing matches when Paige started managing their finances. Are you going to confront them? Not yet. I need to know what else is happening first. I picked up my sandwich but didn't eat it. Something's wrong, Mara. Really wrong. Tyler looked exhausted yesterday. And now this. It feels like... I trailed off. Like what? Like she's bleeding him dry and using my money to hide it. That afternoon, I went to the bank and filed the fraud claim. They reversed the transfers and locked down my account with new credentials. I didn't give the new password to anyone, not even Mara. On my way back to the office, I stopped by the cafe. It was 2 p.m. between lunch and dinner rush. The place was mostly empty. Tyler was behind the counter, staring at a laptop screen with the kind of hollow-eyed focus that comes from too much caffeine and too little sleep. I sat at the counter. Coffee? He looked up, startled. Dad, hey, yeah, sure. He moved on autopilot, pulling a shot, steaming milk, assembling a latte with practiced efficiency. He slid it across to me. Thanks. No problem. You look tired. Grand opening week. You know how it is. I do. I took a sip. The coffee was good. Really good. Tyler, we need to talk. About what? About the mortgage and the transfers from my account. His face went carefully blank. What transfers? Someone's been pulling money from my business account, labeled as Café Operating Funds. Did you know about that? He stopped, looked away. Paige handles the finances. That's not an answer. Dad, I can't what? Can't tell me if my own money is being taken without permission? It's not like that. Then what's it like? He closed his laptop, leaned forward on the counter. Look, things got tight. Expenses were higher than we projected. Paige said you'd offered to help with operational costs for the first few months. I never said that. She showed me the emails. What emails? The ones you sent her, about covering the mortgage and utilities until we were profitable. I set down my coffee. Tyler, I never sent her any emails about that. Not one. Then how? He stopped. The color drained from his face. No, she wouldn't. Wouldn't what? She wouldn't fake emails. That's insane. Show me. What? Show me these emails, right now. He pulled out his phone, scrolled through it with shaking hands, found what he was looking for, and turned the screen toward me. I read the message. It was from my email address. Dated 3 months ago. The text was casual, generous, exactly the kind of thing a supportive father might write. It promised financial support for the first year. It thanked Paige for taking such good care of Tyler. It was perfect, and I'd never written it. That's not from me, I said. Tyler pulled the phone back, staring at the screen like it might change if he looked long enough. But it's your email address. Your name, everything. Emails can be faked. Why would she do that? You tell me. He set the phone down on the counter. His hands were shaking. This doesn't make sense. Why would she need to fake emails when you already agreed to help with the cafe? I agreed to fund the build-out, not operational costs. We were clear about that from the beginning. But she said, he stopped himself, pressed his palms against his eyes. This is crazy. You're saying my wife is stealing from you and lying to me about it? I'm saying someone accessed my bank account without permission and set up automatic transfers. And according to the bank, it happened from an IP address in Riverside. Where do you and Paige live? Riverside. His voice was barely a whisper. Tyler. The back door opened. Paige walked in carrying shopping bags from 3 different boutiques. She saw us and stopped. What's going on? We're having a conversation, I said. About what? About the transfers from my account and some emails I apparently sent that I don't remember sending. She set the bags down slowly. I don't know what you're talking about. Sure you don't. Dean, I understand you're upset about the mortgage situation, but accusing me of fraud is... I'm not accusing you of anything. I'm stating facts. My bank account was accessed without my permission. Money was transferred to the cafe, and Tyler has emails from my address that I never sent. Then maybe you forgot. I don't forget things like that. She turned to Tyler. Do you hear this? Your father is standing here calling me a liar and a thief because he's too proud to admit he made a promise and forgot about it. Paige, he says he never sent those emails. Of course he says that. He's been looking for an excuse to undermine me since the day we met. She moved closer to Tyler, putting herself between us. I've tried so hard to build a relationship with him. I've been patient, I've been respectful, and this is what I get? Nobody's undermining anyone, I said. I just want to understand what happened. What happened is you offered to help, and now you're backing out. And instead of being honest about it, you're creating conspiracy theories to make me look bad. That's not... You know what? I can't do this right now. She grabbed Tyler's hand. Come on. We need to prep for dinner service. Tyler looked at me, then at her, then back at me. Dad, maybe we should talk about this later, when everyone's calmer. I'm perfectly calm. You're accusing my wife of fraud. I'm asking questions. There's a difference. It doesn't feel different. He pulled his hand from Paige's and crossed his arms. Look, I'll check the account records. I'll verify the emails. But I need you to leave right now. Please. I stood up. Every instinct told me to push harder, to make him see what was happening. But I could see the exhaustion in his face, the confusion, the fear. Pushing now would only drive him further into her corner. Okay, I said. Call me when you're ready to talk. I walked out. Mara was waiting in the truck, scrolling through her phone. She looked up when I got in. How'd it go? She's good, really good. Had him defending her in under 30 seconds. What now? Now I document everything. I started the engine. And I find out what else she's hiding. Over the next 2 weeks, I became a forensic accountant. Every receipt, every invoice, every bank statement related to the cafe. I built spreadsheets that would make an IRS agent weep with joy. The picture that emerged was damning. The cafe had cost $70,000 to build out. I'd paid for 50 of it directly. The other 20 had come from a business loan in Tyler's name. But according to the invoices Paige had filed, the build-out cost $90,000, which meant $30,000 had vanished somewhere between the contractors and the paperwork. The equipment was worse. I'd purchased the espresso machine, the refrigeration units, and the dishwasher. But Paige had filed expense reports claiming she'd bought them, complete with invoices that looked legitimate but didn't match the serial numbers or delivery dates. Then there were the operating expenses. Food costs were triple what they should be for a cafe that size. Either they were throwing away 2/3 of their inventory, or someone was inflating the numbers. And the hotel charges. Every week, sometimes twice a week, always on the cafe's business card, always at the same hotel near downtown. I called the hotel. Do you have a restaurant? I asked. No, sir, just vending machines. Meeting rooms? No, sir, we're a budget hotel, just rooms. Thank you. I hung up and stared at the charges. Tyler lived 30 minutes from the cafe. There was no reason for him to need a hotel room, which meant either Paige was using them or someone else was. I started following her, not every day, just occasionally, enough to establish patterns. Tuesdays and Thursdays, she went to the gym at 9 a.m., then shopping, then lunch with friends at expensive restaurants paid for with cafe money. She'd get home around 3, change clothes, and head to the cafe for the dinner shift. On Wednesday, she broke the pattern. She left the gym at 10:30 and drove downtown, not to the cafe, to a high-rise office building with a parking garage. She was inside for 2 hours. When she came out, she wasn't alone. The man with her was in his 30s, wearing a suit that cost more than my truck payment. He was laughing at something she said. They walked to his car, a black Tesla, and stood there talking for another 10 minutes. Then she kissed him. Not a friendly kiss. Not a cheek kiss. A full, deliberate, intimate kiss that left no room for misinterpretation. I took pictures. Lots of pictures. They got in his car and drove to the hotel, the same hotel where the cafe card had been charged 17 times in the last 3 months. I waited in the parking lot. They came out 90 minutes later. She kissed him again before getting in her own car and driving away. I followed the Tesla. It went back to the office building. I watched the man park and walk inside. Then I went to the lobby and checked the directory. Landon Pierce, real estate agent, suite 304. I took a picture of the directory, added it to my folder. That night I sat at the kitchen table with Mara and showed her everything, the invoices, the bank records, the hotel charges, the photos. She studied them in silence. Then she looked up at me. You have to tell Tyler. I know. When? Soon. I need to get more first. More? Dean, this is already... I need to be sure, absolutely sure, because when I show him this, it's going to end his marriage. And I need him to know I'm not doing it to hurt him. I'm doing it to save him. She reached across the table and took my hand. Be careful. She's dangerous. I know. But I didn't know. Not yet. Not really. Friday night, I went to the cafe at closing time. Tyler was sweeping the floor while Paige counted the register. She saw me through the window and her face hardened, but she didn't stop counting. I came inside. Tyler, can we talk? Dad, it's late. Can this wait? No, it can't. Paige slammed the register drawer shut. Of course it can't. Because everything with you is a crisis. Everything is all or nothing. This isn't about me. It's always about you. She moved around the counter, positioning herself between me and Tyler again. You can't stand that Tyler built something without your permission. You can't stand that he's successful. You can't stand that I'm part of his life. You're right, I said. I can't stand you, but not for the reasons you think. Her eyes narrowed. Excuse me? I can't stand liars. I can't stand thieves. And I really can't stand people who manipulate my son. Get out. Tyler, I need to show you something. He's not interested, Paige said. Let him speak for himself. Tyler set down the broom. He looked exhausted, more than exhausted, hollowed out. Dad, what is this about? I pulled out my phone and opened the photo folder, started with the invoices. This is the billed-out cost that was actually paid. This is the cost Paige reported. Notice the $30,000 difference? What are you doing? Paige moved toward me. This is harassment. This is evidence. I swiped to the next photo. This is the espresso machine purchase record. Note the date and the purchaser. Now look at the invoice Paige filed. Different purchaser, same machine, same date. One of these is a lie. Tyler, make him stop. This is the hotel where the cafe card has been charged 17 times. I kept swiping. This is Paige leaving that hotel 3 days ago. This is the man she was with. His name is Landon Pierce. He's a real estate agent. This is them kissing in the parking lot. Tyler grabbed the phone, stared at the screen. The color drained from his face. That's not real, Paige said. He photoshopped that. I can show you the timestamps, the metadata, everything. Tyler looked up at her. Paige? He's lying. He's making this up because he hates me. Then explain the hotel charges. They're legitimate business expenses. For what? Client meetings, brand consultations, none of which I need to justify to him. Landon Pierce isn't a client, I said. He's your affair partner, and he's been helping you drain the cafe accounts. That's insane. Tyler held up his hand. Both of us stopped talking. He stood there for a long moment, phone in his hand, staring at nothing. Then he looked at Paige. Is it true? No, of course not. Baby, you know me. Do I? Yes. We've been married for 2 years. You think I'd throw that away? I don't know what you'd do anymore. His voice cracked. I don't even know who you are. I'm your wife. Then prove it. Show me the hotel isn't what it looks like. Show me Landon Pierce is just a business contact. Show me the invoices are legitimate. She opened her mouth, closed it, opened it again. I don't have to prove anything to you, or to him. If you don't trust me after everything I've done for you, then maybe we don't have a marriage after all. Maybe we don't, Tyler said quietly. She stared at him, then at me, her face twisted into something ugly. You did this. You poisoned him against me. I just showed him the truth. The truth? You want the truth? She grabbed her purse from under the counter, started pulling out papers. Here's the truth. The cafe is failing. We're $40,000 in debt. We can't make payroll next week, and you know why? Because your precious father pulled his support the second he decided he didn't like me. Because he's a controlling, manipulative man who can't let his son have anything that isn't stamped with his approval. That's not what happened, I said. Isn't it? You funded the build-out, you bought the equipment, you made us dependent on you, and then you used that dependence to control every decision, every hire, every menu item, every design choice. Nothing was good enough. Nothing was right. And when I finally stood up to you, when I finally told Tyler he needed to run his own business without his father's constant interference, you retaliated. You pulled the funding, you sabotaged us. And now you're here with fake evidence trying to destroy my marriage so Tyler will come crawling back to you. She was good. Even now, backed into a corner with proof of her betrayal in Tyler's hands, she was spinning a narrative that almost made sense. Tyler looked at me. Is that true? Did you pull funding? No, I paid for everything I promised. Nothing more, nothing less. But you won't help with operational costs. That was never part of our agreement. Because you wanted us to fail, Paige said. You wanted Tyler to prove he couldn't do it without you, so you set us up with just enough support to start, and then you watched us drown. That's a lie. Is it? Because from where I'm standing, it looks like you gave us just enough rope to hang ourselves with. Tyler set my phone down on the counter. I can't do this right now. I can't. His voice broke. I need you both to leave. Right now. Tyler? I started. No, Dad. Please, just go. I looked at Paige. She was smiling. Small and mean and victorious. I picked up my phone and walked out. In the truck, Mara asked, How bad? Bad. She flipped it. Made herself the victim. Made me the villain. Did he believe her? I don't know. But I did know. I saw it in Tyler's face when Paige started talking. That moment of doubt. That question mark. She'd planted it perfectly, and now it would grow. I drove home in silence. Mara didn't try to fill it. She just sat beside me, her presence steady and solid, and let me think. Tyler didn't call that night, or the next day, or the day after that. Monday morning, I got a text. Need space. Please don't contact me for a while. I stared at the message for a long time. Then I put the phone down and went back to work. 2 weeks passed in silence. The longest 2 weeks of my life. I wanted to call Tyler every day, wanted to show up at the cafe and force him to listen. But Mara talked me down each time. You've given him the truth, she said. Now he has to decide what to do with it. What if he decides wrong? Then you'll deal with that when it happens. But pushing now will only make it worse. So I waited, and while I waited, I kept digging. Landon Pierce was easier to research than I expected. He had a website, a LinkedIn profile, a very active Instagram where he posted photos of luxury properties and motivational quotes about success. The kind of person who thought hustle culture was a personality. I called his office pretending to be interested in commercial properties, got transferred to his cell phone. Landon Pierce. Mr. Pierce, my name is Richard Calloway. I'm looking for retail space in the downtown area. My assistant found your contact information online. Great, I'd love to help you. What kind of space are you looking for? Coffee shop. Maybe 2,500 square feet. Good foot traffic. Are you familiar with the downtown market? Very familiar. Actually, funny you mentioned coffee shops. I'm consulting on one right now. Bloom Brew. You might have seen it. Just opened last month. Can't say I have. Beautiful space. Great owners. They're absolutely thriving. That's good to hear. This industry can be tough. Oh, absolutely. But they've got an advantage. They're partnering with someone who understands real estate value. Location is everything, you know? That's someone being you? He laughed. I like to think I add value. But seriously, I'd love to show you some properties. When are you available? Let me check my calendar and get back to you. Sounds good. Looking forward to it. I hung up. Sat back in my chair, partnering with the owners, which meant Landon wasn't just having an affair with Paige. He had a financial stake in the cafe, or thought he did. I called the county recorder's office and pulled the property records for the cafe space. The lease was in Tyler's name, no other names listed, no partnership agreements on file, which meant either Landon was lying or Paige was lying to him. My money was on the latter. That afternoon I did something I'm not proud of. I sat in my truck outside Landon's office building and waited. 4 hours. He came out at 6:15, talking on his phone, laughing at something. He got in his Tesla and drove to a bar downtown. I followed him inside. The place was loud and crowded, music thumping from speakers in the ceiling. Landon sat at the bar and ordered a drink. I sat 3 stools down and did the same. After 20 minutes, Paige walked in. They didn't kiss, didn't even sit together at first. She ordered her own drink and stood by the windows, looking at her phone. 5 minutes later, Landon got up and joined her. They talked. I couldn't hear what they were saying over the music, but their body language was tense. Paige kept gesturing with her hands. Landon kept shaking his head. Then she pulled out her phone and showed him something. His face changed. He grabbed her wrist, not hard, but firm, and said something that made her pull back. She left, just turned and walked out without another word. Landon stood there for a moment, then went back to the bar and ordered another drink. I followed Paige outside. She was halfway to her car when I called her name. She spun around. When she saw me, fear flashed across her face, just for a second. Then it hardened into anger. "Are you following me?" "Yes." "That's harassment. I could call the police." "And explain what? That I saw you meeting with your affair partner in a public bar?" "I'm not having an affair. I have pictures that say otherwise. Those pictures don't prove anything. Landon and I are business associates, that's all." "What business?" "None of yours." "He seems to think he's a partner in the cafe. Is that true?" She went very still. "What did you do?" "I called him. Pretended to be a client. He was very chatty." "You're insane. You're actually insane." "What did you promise him, Paige? What did you tell him he'd get if he helped you?" "I didn't promise him anything." "Then why does he think he's invested in Tyler's business?" "He's not invested. He's never been invested. He just—" She stopped herself. "He just what?" "Nothing. This conversation is over." She started toward her car. I grabbed her arm. Not hard, just enough to stop her. "Listen to me. I know what you're doing. I know about the fake invoices. I know about the hotel charges. I know about the money you're stealing from the cafe. And I know you're stringing Landon along with promises you can't keep. This ends now. You come clean to Tyler, or I will." She yanked her arm away. "You think you're protecting him, but you're not. You're suffocating him. He can't breathe around you. Every decision he makes, you're there, judging him, questioning him, making him feel like he's not good enough. I gave him freedom. I gave him confidence. I gave him the courage to build something without his father's approval stamped on every nail." "You gave him nothing but lies and debt?" "Maybe, but at least I believed in him." She got in her car and drove away. I stood in the parking lot watching her taillights disappear and wondered if she was right. Wednesday morning, my phone rang. "Tyler." "Dad? Hey, you okay?" "No." His voice was shaking. "Can you come to the cafe? Now?" "I'm on my way." I made the drive in 15 minutes. The cafe was dark when I got there. Tyler was sitting on the floor behind the counter, back against the cabinets, laptop open in front of him. "What happened?" I asked. "I went through everything. The bank accounts, the credit cards, the invoices." He looked up at me. His eyes were red. "You were right. About all of it. The fake invoices, the hotel charges, the missing money, everything." I sat down beside him. "I'm sorry." "Don't be. You tried to warn me. I didn't listen." He closed the laptop. "There's more. We're being sued by the landlord. Paige stopped paying rent 3 months ago. We owe $18,000, and there's a lien on the equipment because she defaulted on a loan I didn't even know she'd taken out." "Where's Paige?" "I don't know. She moved out last night, took all her stuff, left me a note that said I'd regret siding with you." He laughed, hollow and bitter. "I already regret it. Not siding with you, just everything, all of it." I stayed with Tyler at the cafe until morning. We didn't talk much, just sat there in the dark, 2 men who'd both been fooled by the same woman in different ways. At 7 a.m., Mara showed up with coffee and breakfast sandwiches. She'd always had perfect timing. "Eat," she said, handing them out. "Both of you." Tyler took the sandwich but didn't unwrap it, just held it like he didn't know what to do with food anymore. "What do we do now?" he asked. "Now we fix it," I said. "How?" "We're $40,000 in debt. We're being sued. The equipment is tied up in a lien I can't pay. Dad, the cafe is gone. I built this for a year and she destroyed it in 3 months. Then we build something else, something better. I don't have the energy for that right now." "I know, but you will." I pulled out my laptop and opened the financial files I'd been compiling. First thing, we need to separate your debt from hers. What's in your name versus what she did without authorization? Most of it's in both our names. We're married. Not for long. You need to file for separation. Today? He nodded slowly. Yeah, I know. Second, we document everything she did. Every fake invoice, every unauthorized charge, every lie. We build a case that shows she committed fraud, not just marital misconduct. Will that work? It'll help, and it'll shift the debt burden onto her in the settlement. She doesn't have any money. No, but she has Landon, and Landon has something we can use. Tyler looked up. What? Leverage. That afternoon, I called Landon's office again. This time, I didn't pretend to be a client. Mr. Pierce, this is Dean Ravel, Tyler Ravel's father. I think we need to talk. There was a long pause. About what? About your investment in Bloom Brew and what my daughter-in-law promised you. I don't know what you're talking about. Sure you don't. Meet me at the Café at 6 p.m. Come alone. If you don't show, I'll assume you're comfortable with me filing a complaint with your broker about your unauthorized involvement in client properties. That's extortion. No, it's a conversation. 6 p.m. I hung up. He showed up at 5:45, which told me everything I needed to know. Tyler and I were waiting inside. I told Tyler to stay quiet and let me handle it. Landon came through the door looking nervous. He was smaller in person than he seemed in his photos, slighter, less confident without an audience. What's this about? He asked. Sit down. I'd rather stand. Sit down. He sat. I pulled out my phone and started showing him photos. You and Paige, the hotel, the parking lot, the bar. Want to explain what kind of business relationship requires that level of physical contact? His face went red. That's private. Not when it involves my son's wife and my son's business. Look, whatever Paige told you, we're just friends. Friends who meet at hotels twice a week? We weren't. He stopped. Reconsidered. Okay. Yeah, we were seeing each other, but that doesn't mean I'm involved in the cafe. Funny, because you told me yourself you were consulting on it. Your exact words were, they're partnering with someone who understands real estate value. I was exaggerating, trying to sound successful. Or you actually thought you had a stake in the business, which means Paige promised you something. What was it? Percentage of ownership? Share of profits? Or just access to funds you could skim? I never took money from the cafe. No? Then why did you tell Paige to use the business credit card for hotel rooms? Your rooms? He stood up. I'm done here. You're done when I say you're done. I stood too. Here's what's going to happen. You're going to sit back down, you're going to tell me exactly what Paige promised you, and you're going to put it in writing. Or I'm going to your broker with evidence that you engaged in an intimate relationship with a married client while advising her on business matters. See how that plays with your license review. You can't prove that. I can prove the affair. The rest is inference. But inference is enough to trigger an investigation, and investigations have a way of uncovering all sorts of interesting things. He sat back down. I placed a voice recorder on the table between us. Start talking. And he did. He talked for 40 minutes. About how Paige approached him 6 months ago, looking for commercial property advice. How they started seeing each other. How she told him the cafe was struggling because Tyler's father was controlling and undermining them. How she wanted to expand, needed investors, needed someone who understood business. She'd promised him 20% ownership if he helped her secure additional financing, said she'd divorce Tyler and they'd run the cafe together, said they'd turn it into a chain, franchise it, build something real. All lies. There was no additional financing, no expansion plans, just Paige draining money from the business and using it to fund a lifestyle she couldn't afford. When Landon realized what was happening, he confronted her. That's what the argument at the bar had been about. He wanted out. She threatened to tell his wife, yes, he was married too, and his employer about the affair unless he kept quiet. She played both of us, he said when he finished. I know that doesn't make it better, but I thought I was helping her escape an abusive situation. I thought I was the good guy. You thought you were getting a piece of a successful business and a younger woman, I said. Don't pretend this was altruism. He nodded, looked at Tyler. I'm sorry, for what it's worth. It's not worth much, Tyler said quietly, but I appreciate you saying it. I turned off the recorder. You're going to testify to all of this in the divorce proceedings. You're going to provide copies of any financial documents Paige shared with you, and you're going to stay away from my family. Understood? Yeah, understood. Get out. He left. Tyler sat there for a long time after Landon was gone. Then he looked at me. I'm a fool. No, you're a man who trusted his wife. That's not the same thing. I should have listened to you. Maybe, but I should have handled it better too. I let my dislike of her get in the way of having a real conversation with you. No, Dad, you were right about everything, and I... His voice cracked. I chose her over you. I defended her. I told you to leave. I believed her lies over your evidence. How do I come back from that? The same way I came back from pushing too hard. We forgive each other. We move forward. We do better. He nodded, wiped his eyes. What's next? Next, we finish this. We take everything to a lawyer. We file for divorce. We shift the debt onto Paige legally, and we make sure she can't do this to anyone else. And then? And then we rebuild. Not the cafe. That's gone. But something better. Something that's actually ours. He smiled for the first time in weeks. Yeah, okay, let's do that. Over the next month, we dismantled Paige's web of lies piece by piece. Tyler filed for separation. I filed fraud claims with the banks. We hired a lawyer who specialized in financial misconduct cases. Paige fought back. She hired her own lawyer. She filed counterclaims accusing Tyler of abandonment and me of harassment. She posted on social media about toxic family members and narcissistic abuse. But we had evidence, recordings, bank statements, testimony from Landon, testimony from contractors she'd stiffed, testimony from the landlord she'd lied to. The judge wasn't impressed with her performance. The divorce settlement hit her hard. All marital debt became her sole responsibility. All assets, what few remained, went to Tyler. She was ordered to repay the money stolen from my accounts, and she was permanently barred from any involvement in Tyler's business ventures. She screamed at us in the courthouse hallway, called Tyler every name she could think of, called me worse, threatened to appeal, threatened to go public with her version of events. We walked away and let her scream. But I wasn't done yet. Paige thought the divorce was the end, that once the papers were signed and the settlement filed, she could move on and rebuild her life, maybe find another Mark, another business to infiltrate, another man to manipulate. I couldn't let that happen, not out of revenge, though I won't lie and say that wasn't part of it, but out of protection. Protection for Tyler, protection for the next person she'd target. So I started making calls. First call went to the bank, where she'd opened multiple business credit cards using fraudulent information. I provided them with copies of the forged documents and the divorce settlement showing her financial misconduct. They opened an investigation. Second call went to the IRS. Paige had been filing business expenses for the cafe that didn't exist, which meant she'd been committing tax fraud. I sent them a detailed breakdown with supporting documentation. Third call went to every contractor she'd hired and stiffed. I told them about the settlement and suggested they file claims against her in small claims court. 6 of them did. Fourth call went to the landlord. I explained that Paige had been diverting rent money into personal accounts. He filed a civil suit for the unpaid rent plus damages. Within 2 weeks, Paige had 4 active lawsuits, 2 federal investigations, and 7 collection agencies pursuing her. She called me one night screaming, "You did this!" I provided truthful information to relevant parties. What they chose to do with it was their decision. You destroyed my life. No, you destroyed your own life. I just made sure everyone knew about it. I'll sue you for defamation. Feel free. Discovery should be interesting. She hung up. 2 days later, she called Tyler. He had her on speakerphone so I could hear. I need help, she said. Her voice was different, smaller, scared. Help with what? Tyler asked. I'm being evicted. My car got repossessed. I can't afford a lawyer for all these lawsuits. Please. I know I messed up. I know I hurt you, but please, you can't just leave me like this. You're right, Tyler said. I can't. Thank you. Thank you so much. I can't because you're not my responsibility anymore. You made that choice when you decided to lie, cheat, and steal. Now you get to live with the consequences. Tyler, please. Good luck, Paige. He hung up. We didn't hear from her again for a month. Then Mara saw something on social media. Paige had moved back in with her parents in another state. She was working retail, living in their basement. Her Instagram was gone. Her LinkedIn was deleted. Her whole carefully curated online presence had vanished. She'd been erased. The same way she'd tried to erase me from Tyler's cafe opening. Is that enough? Mara asked me one night. What do you mean? The revenge, the calls, the lawsuits. Is it enough now? I thought about it. Almost. Almost. There's one more thing I need to do. The cafe space was still available. The landlord had relisted it after Paige's default. I called him. I'm interested in the property. For what purpose? Coffee shop. He laughed. Didn't work out so well last time. Different owners, different management, different everything. You related to the previous tenants? The previous tenant was my son, the one who got screwed by his wife. There was a pause. Oh, I remember you. You came by a few times during build-out. That's right. Your son's a good kid. What she did to him was wrong. Agreed. So will you rent to us or not? Let me look at your credit and financials. If they check out, we'll talk. They checked out. 2 weeks later, Tyler and I signed a new lease. We gutted the space, ripped out everything Paige had touched. New furniture, new layout, new equipment, new name. We called it Ravel and Son. The rebuild took 6 weeks. Tyler and I did most of the work ourselves. Painting, installing shelves, refinishing tables we bought secondhand. Mara handled the business registration and permittance. It felt different this time, lighter. No one was watching over our shoulders, questioning our decisions, redirecting our plans to serve some hidden agenda. It was just us, building something together. We opened on a Saturday morning in October. No grand party, no social media blitz, just a small gathering of family and friends who'd supported us through everything. Mara made a toast, Tyler cut a ribbon, we served coffee and pastries and pretended we weren't nervous about whether anyone would actually come. They came. First customer walked in at 8:15, then 3 more, then 10. By 10 a.m., we had a line out the door. Tyler worked the espresso machine with the kind of focused energy I hadn't seen in him since before he married Paige. No exhaustion, no fear, just skill and pride and something that looked a lot like joy. At noon, he took a break and found me in the back, prepping sandwich ingredients. Dad. Yeah? Thank you. For what? For not giving up on me, even when I gave up on you. I set down the knife, looked at my son. You're my kid. I'm never giving up on you. He hugged me, long and hard, the kind of hug that said everything words couldn't. When we pulled apart, he was smiling. Really smiling. Not the fake smile he'd worn for 2 years while Paige slowly drained the life out of him. A real smile. We're going to make this work, he said. I know. And we did. The cafe was profitable within 3 months. Not wildly profitable, we weren't getting rich, but stable, sustainable, real. Tyler moved into a small apartment near the shop, started dating someone new, someone kind and genuine who liked him for who he was, not what he could provide. I worked 3 days a week at the cafe and the rest at my landscaping business. It was a good balance, enough time together to maintain our partnership, enough space to maintain our independence. Mara took over the financial management for both businesses. Tyler joked that she was the only person we trusted with money anymore. He wasn't entirely wrong. Life got better, simpler, more honest. But Paige wasn't gone, not completely. 4 months after we opened Ravel & Son, she showed up. It was a Tuesday afternoon. The lunch rush had ended and the shop was mostly empty. Tyler was in the back doing inventory. I was wiping down tables when the door opened, and there she was. She looked different, thinner. Her hair was different. No more expensive highlights. She wore jeans and a plain jacket instead of the designer outfits she used to favor. But her eyes were the same, cold and calculating. Hello, Dean. Paige, can we talk? About what? About the lawsuits, the collections, the investigations, all of it. What about them? I need them to stop. They're not mine to stop. You committed fraud. You broke contracts. Those are consequences, not punishments. I know what I did, and I know I hurt Tyler, but this... She gestured vaguely. This is too much. I can't work because everywhere I apply, they find out about the lawsuits. I can't get an apartment because my credit is destroyed. I'm living in my parents' basement at 26 years old because you decided to ruin my entire life. I didn't ruin your life. I just made sure people knew what you did. That's the same thing. No, it's not. She moved closer. When she spoke again, her voice was softer. Please, I'm asking you, person to person, make it stop. I'll disappear. I'll never contact Tyler again. I'll sign whatever you want. Just make it stop. No. Why not? What more do you want from me? I want you to understand something. I set down the cloth and faced her directly. You didn't just steal money. You didn't just lie. You took my son, my good, trusting, hard-working son, and you used him. You manipulated him. You isolated him from his family. You made him doubt himself and me and everything he'd built. You destroyed his confidence and his business and his marriage. And you did it all for what? Designer clothes, Instagram likes, a lifestyle you couldn't afford. I made mistakes. Mistakes are forgetting to pay a bill. What you did was calculated, sustained, deliberate harm, and you'd do it again in a heartbeat if you thought you could get away with it. That's not true, isn't it? You're not here because you're sorry. You're here because you want me to make your problems disappear so you can move on and find your next victim. But I'm not going to do that, because the next Tyler deserves better. Her face hardened. You self-righteous piece of... Tyler came out from the back. Paige, you need to leave. She turned to him. Tyler, please, talk to him. Make him understand. I understand perfectly. You hurt me. You lied to me. You almost destroyed everything my dad and I built, and now you want us to make it easier for you to do it to someone else. The answer is no. I'm not going to do it to someone else. Then prove it. Pay back what you owe. Face the consequences. Actually change instead of just saying you have. I can't pay it back. I don't have the money. Then I guess you'll be paying for a long time. Tyler, get out, Paige, and don't come back. She looked between us, saw no sympathy, no weakness, nothing she could use. You'll regret this, she said finally. No, I said. We really won't. She left. Tyler leaned against the counter. That was harder than I thought it would be. You did good. Did I? Part of me wanted to help her, even after everything. That's because you're a good person, but helping her wouldn't actually help her. It would just enable her to keep being who she is. He nodded. Yeah, I know. We didn't see Paige again after that, but her presence lingered, in the way Tyler was extra careful about who he dated, in the way we both triple-checked financial records, in the way I found myself watching the door sometimes, waiting for her to walk back in with some new scheme or demand. But she never did. And slowly, over time, the ghost of her began to fade. 6 months after Paige's visit to the cafe, I got a call from Landon Pierce. Mr. Ravel, it's Landon. Look, I know this is strange, but I wanted to talk to you about Paige. What about her? She contacted me 2 weeks ago. Said she was starting a new business, some kind of lifestyle consulting thing. She wanted to know if I'd invest. What did you tell her? I told her no. But then I got curious. I looked into what she was doing. He paused. Mr. Ravel, she's running the same play. Found some guy with money. Convinced him she's a marketing genius. She's already got him setting up an LLC and applying for business loans. Who's the guy? His name is Blair Halden. He owns a chain of dry cleaners. A nice guy, divorced, 2 kids. He has no idea what he's getting into. I wrote down the name. Why are you telling me this? Because you were right, about everything. She's not going to change. She's just going to keep finding new people to use. He hung up. I sat there for a long time, staring at the name. Blair Halden. Probably a decent person. Probably vulnerable to exactly the kind of attention Paige specialized in providing. What's wrong? Mara asked. Paige found someone new. Are you going to warn him? I thought about Tyler, about the year of his life that was stolen, about how close we came to losing our relationship entirely. Yes, I said. I am. Finding Blair Halden was easy. I called his office and asked to speak with him directly. This is Blair. Mr. Halden, my name is Dean Ravel. You don't know me, but I need to talk to you about Paige Ravel. There was a pause. How do you know Paige? She was married to my son. Can we meet in person? There are things you need to know. We met at a diner the next morning. Blair was in his late 40s with kind eyes and a handshake that suggested he still believed most people were fundamentally good. I showed him everything, the court documents, the divorce settlement, the fraud cases, the financial records showing how Paige had systematically drained Tyler's business. He read through it all in silence. His face got paler with each page. She told me she was a marketing consultant, he said finally. All fake, I said. Mr. Halden, I'm not here to tell you what to do, but I am here to give you information. He set down the papers. What would you do? I'd end it, today, completely, and I'd check every financial account to make sure she hasn't already started helping herself. His face went even paler. Oh, God, I gave her access to my business account, for marketing expenses. How much was in that account? $30,000. Check it, now. He pulled out his phone, scrolled through transactions. His hands started shaking. There's only $12,000 left. Call the bank, report it as unauthorized, file a police report, and cut off her access to everything. He did. Then he sent Paige a text ending their relationship. Thank you, he said, for warning me. You're welcome. When I got back to the cafe, Tyler asked where I'd been. To warn Paige's new target. Did he listen? Eventually. Good, Tyler smiled. I hate that she's still doing this. We've done our part. Now we focus on what we built. Yeah, what we built. A year after we opened Ravel & Son, a legal notice arrived. From Paige's lawyer. She was suing us. Tyler for defamation, me for harassment. She wanted $200,000. Our lawyer smiled when she read it. This is good news. She just opened herself up to discovery, which means we can subpoena all her financial records, all her communications, all her business dealings. And that's exactly what we did. We subpoenaed Landon, the contractors, Blair Halden. Everyone testified about the same pattern of behavior. We submitted the divorce settlement, the fraud findings, the bank records, everything. The judge dismissed Paige's case, with prejudice. But 3 months later, I got a different call. Mr. Ravel? This is Detective Morrison with the District Attorney's Office. We're conducting an investigation into allegations of financial fraud. We'd like to speak with you about Paige Ravel. She's being investigated? We've received multiple complaints. Your case was among them. We're building a criminal case. Whatever you need. Tyler and I testified. So did Landon. So did Blair Halden. So did 3 other people I'd never met. The evidence was overwhelming. 4 separate victims, identical patterns, documented lies. The jury deliberated for 4 hours. Guilty on all counts. Sentencing day came 3 weeks later. Tyler and I sat in the courtroom. Mara was with us. So was Tyler's girlfriend. The judge reviewed the case, noted the multiple victims, the calculated nature of the crimes. Ms. Ravel, you had multiple opportunities to take responsibility. You chose instead to blame others, to paint yourself as a victim while continuing to victimize others. The judge paused. The sentence is 5 years in state prison, followed by 3 years probation. You are ordered to pay full restitution to all victims. The total amount is $187,000. You will also be permanently barred from holding fiduciary responsibility in any business entity. Paige made a sound. Not quite a scream, not quite a sob. Do you have anything to say? The judge asked. Paige looked back at us, at Tyler, at me. This is all your fault, she said. You destroyed my life because I wouldn't let you control your son. The bailiff moved toward her. I leaned forward and spoke clearly enough for her to hear. You erased me from your opening day. I just returned the favor. The bailiff led Paige away in handcuffs. She screamed something, but the courtroom doors closed behind her. Tyler turned to me and smiled, really smiled. The kind of smile I hadn't seen in years. I smiled back.